coming from like more a more board game focused experience, what do you think is that big barrier to TTRPGs versus board games? I feel like board games have had like a huge surge in popularity where TTRPGs have, but not really in the same scope. You know, I feel like board games are massive, 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 and TTRPGs are like, oh, we're also here.
Part of it is like theme, right? So there are obviously a billion different themes and genres covered by RPGs, but because there's one big monster RPG that like soaks up all of the light in the room, like if you're being introduced to a medium and everybody says, and this is the game, then if you don't like that thing, if you don't like fantasy or monster fighting and stuff like that, you're gonna go, okay, well, this thing is just not for me. I don't like this. And I'm just gonna miss the fact that there's a billion other things outside of that. I think it's also just like, I mean, it's an onboarding thing. Like you get onboarded into the idea of board games and card games very early on because there are board games and card games that are designed for children. And so you learn about these things so early. And so you could just be like, okay, we played Uno for a long time and maybe we want something with a little bit more chew. Well, guess what? There's 1,000 different options for you to choose. Board games have been around long enough to have created this long tail, like this clear path of progression that you can take from like introduction to getting more and more into it. And it has those, you know, quintessential, you've leapt from like playing the same games that everybody's played to like, oh, now you played Catan. Now you've gone into the hobby space, right? And like role-playing games don't have that necessarily, where it's like you've played the equivalent of Monopoly your whole life, and now you played the Catan that exploded your mind. I guess probably that's like most PBTA games, I think, is probably what I would say is like the Catan equivalent, where you go, oh, it can be so different. We have a clear path of progression for people to get exposed to board games and card games at an early point. And then because there's a singular dominant force in this particular hobby, if you are not interested in the themes or complexity of that thing, then you're going to go, I guess this entire hobby isn't for me.